All right, we're just going to quickly look at the exercise here as we close this. And so, first thing TD Jakes wanted us to do was maybe take a 2-minute silent and just see how silent feels, and based on that 2-minute silent, we can ask ourselves the questions. I'm not going to be able to do interactive, so I don't disturb Toba's internet. But so I'm just going to run this on my own. It says, it's just when you go silent, how do you feel? That just helps you to be able to understand how your audience might feel about it when you take those silent opportunities, as it were. So where did your mind go, and how did you respond when the silent period was over? So it all depends on how this was done. Sometimes when you're silent, your mind will tend to want to roam, or at least go to the thing that is most important to you. Maybe something you've been dwelling on proud, or something that's a pain point in your life, But if there was a message, maybe you're thinking about the message and how it applies to your life, So it all depends on the way what's going on in your mind at that point in time, right? This next one is where that's 2 minutes. So the question here was, do you agree or disagree that speech and presentation should be viewed in terms of a conversation? Obviously, it should be, and that's what I explained earlier on, right? Even though you have a group, truly, it's made up of individual, so you speak to them as if you're speaking to one person. That helps you to get the message home. You're not speaking to their seats, you're speaking to the individual. And sometimes that helps also for people that have stage fright. I mean, if you see that you're speaking to one person in that audience, that sometimes takes away the stage fright, right? So that can help from that angle also. You're talking about how do you put up pace, moments, pace, and all of that. It all depends on what you're trying to communicate, right? Like, again, imagine you're speaking to one person one-on-one. What would be the best way to get that message home? That's the same way then you deliver to the crowd, right? So it comes by, you just have to be real, right? You have to be real to communicate. Great communicators are people that are home with a message they're trying to give. Like I shared last week, my own trust is to make myself the message, so that when I'm delivering it, I'm just talking out of myself. I'm not talking about something that I put in my head. I'm talking about a life that I'm living. It's coming from my heart. So when I study, I absorb it. I ingest my studying so that it becomes flesh in me, it becomes me. So when I'm communicating, I'm not communicating as someone who has read something, but I'm communicating out of my life, And so it becomes automatic. Because I'm trying to communicate from my life, right? I'm able to become second nature as to know how to pace, slow down, because I'm talking as if I'm talking to one person, right? So all of that just comes out naturally, right? So that's part of it, it's just trying to be real, be yourself, do like you would normally talk to an individual, and that kind of helps them bridge the gap, So he was also asking, which speaker have you heard who were masters in using silence? I don't know. So Toba, tell us about Kumoye. How does Kumoye use silence in his messages?
Well, he uses it. Though I think, let me start by saying, I think some people have the ability to talk for long without pausing, using silence. Like the other time you were talking about, as a communicator, you also need to take in your breath. And
Yeah.
I do that a lot when I'm speaking, maybe leading prayers, maybe preaching. Sometimes I realize that when I'm saying a lot of things in a little time, I need to catch my breath at least. So I use silence to, one, catch my own breath and let the words that I've also been saying sink in to the hearts of the people. So, but I've also noticed that Pastor Kumo, like a person, he speaks very fast, more or less like an orator, and he hardly uses silence. But that was then. In recent times, maybe as age is catching up on him, he has started using it. Because based on his age, he cannot just speak for so long again. Sometimes he might need to clear his throat. Sometimes, in fact, once in a while, though not regularly, but once in a while, you might even need to maybe take a sip from water. So you just realize that he keeps quiet a little bit. The camera would have gone off him, and then he continues the same words again. Sometimes
Yeah.
he says something that he wants people to respond to. Maybe I said something and say, I have lost the voice of my people. And so by the time the people are responding, it gives him an opportunity to also keep quiet. I mean, take his silence and then, take his breath and at least relax a little bit before he picks up from that point. So he uses it very well, allowing the word to sink
Yeah.
into the heart of the people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
very
that's important. And talking about what he used to be, yeah, he could speak for long because he speaks in a what we might call a monotone, right?
okay.
It's a bit because he's using about the same tone. I'm talking about the old one now, not
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one, the way they started. In the old one, even though he might be speaking fast, it's not necessarily changing its intensity. It's a bit kind of monotone, right?
Okay.
No, I'm asking. I'm telling you what I know, but I might be wrong. You know him more than I do. You listen to him more than I do.
Okay.
But the ones I've listened is like he doesn't necessarily speak very fast, then slow down. Speak very fast, then
No.
slow down.
Yes,
It's almost like
yes,
it's at
yes.
the same pace.
Yes,
You
yes,
get what I'm
yes, yes,
saying?
yes, yes, yes,
It's a
yes. You're
monotone,
very
at the
correct.
same pace all through the
Yes,
message. Yes.
yes, you're very correct.
Yeah.
You're
So
very
it's kind
correct.
of rhythmic in such a way that whoever is following, stays at that same reading and is able to just flow in that reading. So maybe then there might not be a need for silence because once the person is able to catch to the same reading, then they are flowing together at that same frequency. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
But not all of us do that. I don't do that. You see that I change pace. I sometimes, if I'm
yes,
excited, I'm going to say it loud. I'm going to calm down.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So for someone like me, I have to help people because I'm not going at the same frequency. All of that. Not everybody goes up with me and comes down with me. Because
Yes.
I'm responding to the way I feel about that message. I'm trying to sell my emotion, and not everybody will catch it at the same time. So then I have to do more work. I can't just be talking because I'll lose people. Because when I go high, some people go with me. Maybe 50% went with me, 50% did not. When I come low, maybe 50% came down. So
Yes, yes.
then I have to, so I have to help the people at some point in time to help everybody come to that same reading together. You get it?
Yes, 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 yes. You're
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
correct. You're correct. Yeah.
yeah. So all of that's important, but you learn it as the more you do it, the more it comes natural. It's wanting to talk about it, but then it's just like prayer, right? You can teach from now till thy kingdom come on prayer. You will not know how to pray until you pray.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I
Very cool.
mean, as much as we talk about this, the real taste of the pudding is in doing it. You know. Yeah. So